Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jim Sinley for SpeedEndurance.com and welcome to Speed Endurance TV. And today's session, we are going to answer some questions from the mailbag or email. And on this call, I have a master sprinter named Andy. Hi Andy, thanks for your questions.
Hi, Jimson. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, great. I think you asked 3 or 4 really good questions, and these are the questions I get all the time from people. And I think it's good to actually share my answers because it will help you, but it will also help other people searching for the same kind of questions. Unfortunately, it'll help your competitors as well. So as you improve and get better, so will your competitors who are reading and are watching this video. Okay, so let's get to it. So the first question was about training volume. What is the benefit of doing 4 times 50 meters, 2 sets of 4 times 50, 3 sets of 150, or 2 sets of 3 by 150? So those are 4 different kind of workouts, and those 4, the first thing you need to do is add up the volume. And the first one, 4 times 50, is 200 meters, and then the second workout was 400 meters. 3 times 150 is 450, and then 2 sets of 3 150 is 600 meters. You know, as a guideline, I like to use about 500 meters as my short speed total volume. Now, when you say short speed, what is short speed? Well, short speed to me is anything under, say, 7 seconds of work. If you do exercise physiology, you know, there's your up to 1 second explosive first step. There's up to 7 seconds. And then speed endurance is between 7 and 15. And then speed endurance 2 goes from 15 to 40 seconds. So I think we have the 4 workouts I mentioned. They're really 2 different type of workouts. And I always start with, say, the slowest and lowest number of volume. Too many people make the mistake by doing too much, too fast, too soon. So I think you should just start with 1 set of 4 times 50, which is 200 meters of volume. If that's enough and you're not sore, not injured after, say, 2 or 3 days, then you can start increasing the volume. You can either add a 5th set, or you can break it up by having, say, 2 sets of 3 times 50. As long as you keep the volume well under 500 meters of the short speed. Now that's over time. I don't expect any new person to jump in and do 500 meters worth of volume. And so start at 200, 300, and gradually go up. Right? So that's the first part of question 1.
Right.
Does that make sense, Andy?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I feel sometimes that after a certain number of runs, let's take the 50 as an example, after 5 or so, I feel already a little bit exhausted, or I feel like I'm not that explosive anymore, not that fresh anymore, and then I wonder whether I should go for maybe the planned 6 reps or whether I should then stop it. And then the related question was, what is the benefit of having more reps? So what's the difference between doing 200 meter of high speed versus 500? What will it help me? I think it will help, obviously, because I think it probably makes sense to do more reps, but I was also interested in the background behind why is it better actually ideally to go to 500, for example, in volume.
Okay, well, I think the first thing is the on the short speed, whether it's 2 sets or 3 sets of 50 meters, the last run should be as good as the first run. If you're degrading too much, then you're not taking enough recovery. So when you do your 50-meter run, continue past the line until you're near the finish line, and then walk back 100 meters slowly. And that should take you at least 3 to 4 to 5 minutes. And if you're still breathing hard, if you're wearing a heart rate monitor, then I know you're going too hard. Don't go and start your next run until you're really recovered. So we're really looking for quality in this example. In this type of workout, you don't want to degrade too much. So that's the short speed. But when you talk about 150s or 200s or 300s, then we're talking more into speed endurance. And that's a whole different energy system. And I think that should be left for another day. And that will be going to question 2. But just to finish off question 1, I think the focus of the workout of the short 50 meters is to work on acceleration development your biomechanics, and not max velocity. You need at least 60 meters to do max velocity. 20, 30 meter run in, and then 20, 30 meter of max velocity. But the purpose of the workout is speed, acceleration, dry phase, and to some extent max velocity. So I guess before you do any workout, ask yourself, what is the purpose of the workout? What am I aiming to do? And it's not just to finish the workout like most people try to do. You really have to say, I want to work on my short speed, acceleration, mechanics, and that's why we do this short speed. And it can be 30 meters, 40 meters, up to 50 meters. World-class athletes go max velocity at 60 or 70 meters, and a youth and a masters maybe up to 40, 30, 40, 50. Depends on the athlete. So this is the workout that we're aiming to do in this case.
All right.
Now when you're doing the 150s, whether it's 3 times 150 or 2 sets of 3 150, that's speed endurance. There's no way anyone can run that all out. After 7 seconds, your body will just start shutting down. So you have to sort of, pace yourself, don't go as fast. So in this case, you want to make sure your sessions are of high quality. And because I can do 8 times 150 in my flats in 20 seconds and walk back 150, and I can do that workout today. But if I want to get better, then I want to do my 150s, say down to like 17 seconds for masters guy like me. But after that 150 in 17 seconds, I need to walk around 250 all the way around back to the starting line. There's no way. I need 5 minutes, 8 minutes, maybe 8 minutes for that recovery. So if you just want to work your lactic acid for whatever reason, then you might as well, do 8 150s jog back. And by the 8th one, you're going to be hurting so bad it won't be funny. But if you really want to work on the speed endurance component of your training, that's up to, between the 7 and say 15-second mark, then you really have to have good quality workouts and make sure, 5, 8 minute recovery, and you're only doing three runs, so that's 17, 18 minutes. And if you do 2 sets of 3 150s, then you make sure you have a good 15-minute break between the 2 sets. Like you want to make sure every single run is of high quality, and of course you can use a timer or use Freelap to time yourself. That's a good indication. And if it starts degrading too much, then 1, you get a chance of getting injured, and 2, you aren't. The purpose is to work on speed endurance, not lactic acid, type of workout. So that's how you have to separate your 2 workouts, speed and speed endurance. And again, volumes start low and slowly increase. That's my only advice. So I would do 3 150s with good recovery, and only then when you're really getting the times you want, then you can add another one in. But I think you're better off to do maybe some 200s, some 250s. It just depends on where you are in your training cycle. Does that answer your question for question 1?
Yeah, I think it's great. I really understand it better now, because I was training with another masters athlete who is at the world-class level, won another bronze medal in Budapest this year on the pentathlon, but he's very experienced, and he has been an athlete since he was a child, while I was a soccer player since I was a child. So for me, it's still the question on how do I get to certain levels of acceleration and speed endurance. So he can do certain things that I cannot do yet while we train together, and then now I'm figuring out that I need to work on myself a little bit more than was just following him. And now I understand this much better, and to separate these sessions and to also look at the times, measure them, maybe with Freelap, so that you know when you're degrading, and then, like you said, rather stop when it's degrading too much, and then try again the week after if you can add one more. So, thanks.
Exactly. No, it's good. I think there's a great UK athletics coach named Tony Hadley, and he had a great expression saying the training for the 400 meters is like having 3 tennis balls, and you're juggling. One is speed endurance, and one is aerobic, and you have to do all three at the same time. Now, in this case, I don't 100% agree with Tony because the aerobic part, I would replace that word with conditioning, mobility. I mean, I don't believe in doing 7 mile runs on Sunday, but if it works for him, great. But I do believe in being an athlete first before being a sprinter. So it means that you have to be in good condition, be in good shape, all your muscles working properly, being physically fit, both push and pull in weight room, pull-ups as well as bench press. Uh, but let's go back to the speed and the speed endurance. We'll save the conditioning for another talk. But so you have to really juggle and balance your speed sessions and your speed endurance sessions, and that's really the summary of question one. And for speed endurance, the maximum I ever go is 1,000 meters, and speed is 500 meters. That's the max. Mm-hmm. So I may do 3 times 300, so that's 900 meters, right? I might do 2 times 500, and that's again 1,000. But for you, let's start with say 500 meters on the speed endurance, and just juggle it, see how you feel. I recommend taking 2 days off after a hard session for masters. So I don't think any masters can train hard 3 days a week. I really think it's Monday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Saturday, depending on your lifestyle, kids, and everything. 3 sessions a week. You got to be like retired and wealthy and have a massage. And, that's my opinion. But I think you really need 2 days of rest after these sessions. At least I do. Sometimes even 3. But, okay, so let's get back now to question 2. You asked about your best weekly training plans to improve acceleration and max velocity. And the big question is really, are you going short to long or long to short? And I think you know the difference, right? Short to long.
Yes.
Okay. So, but before, let's talk about the base. I think the best weekly training plan is 3 weeks hard, 1 week easy. So in a week, you train hard twice a week, maybe 2 easy weeks, 2 easy days. So 2 hard, 2 easy per week. But 3 weeks you go hard, and on the 4th week you train a bit easier, lower volumes, lower intensities. And I would look at your schedule, and if you have to go away for travel for work, or if it's the week of Christmas, or the week of Easter, then I would slot my easy week on purpose with those weeks. So that's it, 3 in 1, 3 in 1. And I think after 2 months of that, I think you need to change it up a bit and get more specific to racing. So now it's June, we're a bit late, but if you're competing and aiming for August, I think you can do, 2 months of quality sessions, 3 weeks hard, 1 week easy. That's how I work. Some people like 3 or 4 in 1, and some like 2 in 1, but as a guideline, that's how I like to plan my sessions. Any questions before I go to part 2?
No, I think makes a lot of sense. I was experimenting a little bit for your background about how many sessions I can do, and I had like 2 or 3 hard sessions and 1 or 2 lighter sessions. But the lighter sessions were then, to me, still hard because I wasn't recovered yet from the hard sessions. So going from like 2 or 3 sprinting sessions per week to 4 or 5 was, I think, too much. And of course, I also have some work and family and so on, and that was just not manageable. And I think it feels like I'm not improving. I haven't improved a lot when going to the 4 or 5. So I think it's probably better, like you said, do 2 real hard ones per week and then do some other workout, like the weight room and other things. And then I think this periodization sounds also good to me. I've done it with my colleague, and it feels just good because you have that rhythm, and you also don't have the exact same every week, which is another benefit to me. So it makes sense.
Right. You don't want to get bored, but I think that the next question you're asking if short to long or long to short is better. And it really depends on you. If you feel you have some speed, if you're already a quick and fast runner, then you might want to go long to short. That, say, Clyde Hart makes very famous. But for the majority of the people, I recommend the short to long method. So really work on the short speed. Now, your question, which I will print up and have it on the blog, should you focus on the distance, say under 60 to 80 meters, which is about 7-8 seconds, or should you go for the longer runs, like the 150s, the 200s, the 300s? One is short and one is long, and there's really two ways you can do this. If you have 2 hard sessions a week, then you can do both sessions short speed. Really work on acceleration development. Really work on your speed. Don't worry about speed endurance. Don't worry about special endurance later. That will come later in when, say April, when you're peaking for nationals or worlds. But it's really important to get either 2 short sessions a week. Tennis ball and mix it around, that's fine too. But one will be a short speed workout, and the other will be a speed endurance workout with the 150s. So those are really your only 2 choices in a short to long approach. 2 short speed workouts or one speed endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do the mistake like most people, and they do 2 like special endurance workouts. They do like 500s and 10 times 200 on Mondays, and they do 8 times 300 on Friday, and that's it. That's training long to long, right? They're going to be slow, and they'll show up slow. They'll be fit, but they'll be slow.
Yes.
We're here to get fast. We're here about stopwatch. We're not. If you want to get good, that's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different blog. But if you want to aim for performance, then this is where we come to. So I think if you like the mixed plan, that's fine. It depends on where you're at in your training. If you feel you have the speed, then do the mix. But if you feel like you're still not getting the speed right, you're still not looking good, you're not feeling great on the track, then stick to acceleration development from day one.
Mm.
So that answers your question too.
Great. I think that's a great tip because that's probably what I like on the one hand and also what I'm lacking. So I would probably choose to go for, I don't know if it's 2 months of that, where you do 2 speed sessions per week to really work on that, because also for my injury, I had this hamstring tear. I couldn't do it for 2-3 months. And so I really feel bad now because I'm lacking the speed. And anyway, I think that's something really important for me. And I have never been having problems with the endurance in general because I played soccer. So I think I still have that in my mind that I can push through and I can have that pain. And I think you're right. In some point, you need to do that to not, decline already after 40 or 50 meters and keep that speed for longer. But I would be happy to do the speed sessions as a priority for a certain period of time and then do the other one.
Well, because it's June, if you're racing this year, I think you're better to work on your speed right now. And then in the fall, we can look into doing some special endurance mixed training. But for now, if you're peaking for a race, then sharpening your sprints is the best advice right now, being in June.
Yeah,
so, okay.
That's great. I have a race coming up in August, so would be good.
Perfect. Yeah, no, you're in good shape. I mean, it's 2 more months ago. Again, keep your sessions high quality, good recovery, and do your conditioning on easy days. Easy days is a good time to do your tempos, to flush out the system, work on overall fitness, mobility, flexibility, work all your joints. But yeah, I think you're in good shape for that. So let's go to question 3 here. You're asking about the drive phase, acceleration distances, and how would you go about it. Now, the 100 meters is a really complicated event, up to the 60-meter mark. If you study physics, I mean, we're looking at vectors, right? You have a horizontal vector and a vertical vector, and when you start, you're in this position, and every step you take, you're rising up, and the forces start changing, and you know what I mean? Like every stride has a different vector until about, say, 60 meters, for example. And then once you're upright, then it's max velocity and maintaining max velocity or speed endurance. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to play with distances that really focus on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're just doing starts and you want to practice a start, just go, 10 meters. You don't have to do 30 meters if you want to do your start. Like why wreck your body to run 30 meters when all you want to do is test the first, say, 3 steps. The next milestone is 10-meter mark. You should be taking 7 steps to the 10-meter mark, maybe 8. But that's the part where you drive, and I mean drive out of the blocks and come upright. Too many guys, and women, gun goes off and pop up and then they run. So, 10-meter distance is a very important distance. Even 20 meters is important for a dry phase. Uh, the dry phase, that occurs somewhere around 10, 15 meters up to about 30, 35-meter mark. That's the critical part of the race because every phase sets you up for the next phase. You get a bad start, you'll get a bad 7 steps. You get a bad, 10-meter mark, you're going to have a bad dry phase. So unless you're Usain Bolt or Justin Gatlin with a great top speed, you got to make sure that every part, works and everything sets you up for the next part of the race. So I think you need to do all distances. You need to do your 30s, you need to do your 40s, your 50s. If you want to work dry phase, then you have to go at least, say 40 meters, 30, 40 meters in distance. If you want to work max velocity, then you need a good run-in before you can start working on max V, and can be anywhere up to 30 meters. Some people use only 10 meter, but in most cases you need literally a good like 30 meters to get the top speed. And that's a workout where I do say you run hard for like you run into a 20-meter mark cone, then you go max V for 20 meters, then you go easy 20, right? It's like 20, 20, 20, like easy, hard, easy. So you're going to stretch it to 30 meters, but that's a lot of work. But that's a different type of workout. That's max velocity. Yeah, so that was a question on how to improve those acceleration phase, and I think the best answer is to break it up into parts and work each part differently because it's clear in a 100-meter sprint there's like 5 to 7 parts in a race, and each one will affect the other part. Do you have any that answer that question?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's very clear with the different phases and to work them separately. And the only question left I have is, and maybe I need to read that as well, looking for your answer, is about when you end your dry phase, because maybe you're not having enough power anymore to keep that inclined way of running, and then you get upright, there is still, it seems like 10, 20 meters where you can still accelerate to get your max velocity. That could probably be at 60, 70 meters for an elite sprinter and maybe 40, 50 for a master sprinter, depending on age and whatever. So let's assume you do the dry phase until 30, 35 meters, you are almost upright or upright at that stage, and then what do you do to still accelerate? And that's maybe also a mindset thing, because it feels like I need to still accelerate, but then I don't do it. I don't improve anymore. So is that about the...
Once you hit,
yeah, is that about...
once you hit max,
Great.
yeah, once you hit max speed, there's nothing you can do to accelerate. I mean, mentally, you have to push harder to maintain the speed. But once you hit max velocity, you really shouldn't be trying to force yourself more. And if you do, you'll run out of energy at the finish line. So I think you should know where your acceleration phase ends and just maintain your max speed. Whether it's 40 meters today, that's fine. We're masters, that's fine. But if it's 50, that's fine. It's only through training where you'll see it. And I mean, you're a free lap user, so if we can get some more of those transmitters to you, taking 10-meter splits is a great way to figure out, where you reach max velocity. And we all know about Usain Bolt's 10-meter splits, and he's, doing it under, 0.82 seconds per 10-meter split. But by measuring your 10-meter split, you can figure out where in your training, where you're at, and from that point, try to maintain your speed to the finish line. Whether it's 100 meters or the 200 meters, it's the same thing. Your first 40 is the same. First, driving out, getting out hard, and then relaxing and maintaining. Does that answer that one?
Yeah, I think it's very clear. So I think with the free lap, I think that could really help to see where the max velocity is, and then also how it changes over time.
Right. Just don't be not disappointed, but I mean, Usain Bolt and Tyson Gay go to 70 meters, but for us, 30, 40 meters, maybe 50. I mean, whatever it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the secret is, for us, more of our race is speed endurance. If we're running 40 meters acceleration, then 60 meters is speed endurance. Whereas Usain Bolt, his first 60, 70 is speed, and then his last 30 is speed endurance or maintenance.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you need your max velocity, but don't neglect your speed endurance in your training, because at the end, that's what's going to separate it. I know guys who are faster than me acceleration-wise, but I have a better speed endurance, and I'll run them down over the last part of the race. So again, you have to know your strength and your weaknesses, and work on your weakness, but then don't forget to work on your strength too.
Sure.
And for me, it's always been my strength. I've always had a good speed endurance. Okay, I think, are we okay for time, or it's time?
Yeah,
I think,
okay for time, looks good. Maybe just one last question, if I can ask. If you work on speed, and if you have free lap, for example, would you think it's good to use it for maybe this 2 month stretch in every of these workouts to really measure it, or do you say let's not use it for all of them because I don't know, maybe there's some reasons because you get too much stressed about if you would. I don't think I have a problem with it. I like to use it almost every time. Is there any guidance?
I have one question to ask you. Do you play video games?
Yeah, I used to play sometimes, not enough anymore.
So you have played video games.
Yes.
Okay, the answer is you like instant gratification.
Right.
Therefore, use free lap. As
Okay.
a sprinter, we all want instant gratification. You play a video game, you want to see if you won, you want to see your high score. Same thing with free lap. After my run, first thing I do is check my watch. Oh, and
Yeah.
then so the answer is yes. I mean, you can't improve what you don't measure, and you'd be surprised when you try to force it and you're tense, you'll find your times are terrible. So if you let things go, let it go freely, and if you're not conscious all the time, you'll be impressed on how well you can run. But no reason why you should not use timing system. It doesn't have to be free lap. It can be Brower, it can be any timing system. But every sprinter I know wants to know his time when he crosses the line. I don't know a sprinter out there who doesn't want to know the time, unless they're a youth athlete and they're running for medals.
Yeah.
Every run in practice, every race I run, first thing I do, I look at the time. So you have to measure yourself and write it down. I mean, we live in a digital age. We all carry iPhones and iPods and Android phones. There's no reason why you can't record these. But then again, don't be too conscious of it and just let yourself run. Because the system works beautifully. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about a coach, and it's accurate. So
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I'm like you, and I'm like that, and I have all these spreadsheets I recorded, and I had on Tuesday I had my best day because I hit my personal best on the 30 meters, and probably while using it even more often and regularly, you even forget about it, and I'm almost getting there. So I think it's great guidance.
No, okay, good. Okay, I think it's time to go. I think you have to go at 2 o'clock, right? Okay.
Yeah. No
Well, we can
problem.
do this again. We do this again in a week's time.
Sure.
Andy, great. Thank you for your questions, and good luck in your training. And we'll touch base in a week or two and see where you're at.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for everything. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.